these lighting fixtures that are very lovingly designed in honor
Of the wrong Jack Purcell.
of the wrong Jack Purcell.
That's awesome.
And Matthew reported that in total they cost about $50,000. The city councilor who tipped Matthew Pearson off to this whole thing.
She said to me, I think he just Googled Jack Purcell, and the only thing that comes up is the badminton player. The Ottawa hockey stick helper-outer of kids doesn't come up on Google.
I mean, that's a real lesson in research. We come across that type of thing all the time, too, basically. It's like Wikipedia is this great resource, but, sometimes they don't have entries for the common postal carrier who repairs hockey sticks.
I've got my phone.
Right.
And so the designer of these
hearing
lights,
the
they
program.
knew that was what they were following.
Yeah, so Matthew talked with the designers, and they admitted that initially they had designed lights in honor of badminton Jack Purcell. And in fact,
the original design called for the racket-shaped light fixtures to be strung like real rackets, but that part of the plan was nixed.
So should I just be on the phone call now?
They figured out their mistake.
Yeah, I'm a true
although they,
just
it gets a little sticky here, but the designers told me that at that point they had completely redesigned the light fixtures to look like stylized trees. Although I think to Matthew and kind of anyone looking at them, they still look pretty suspiciously like unstrung badminton rackets.
Basically what I'm saying, Emmett, is I don't think people bought the suggestion that they were stylized trees.
But I can see how they would get confused and maybe make these lights, and they are stylized enough. They're pretty, so it makes sense to change.
This is Skip Sams, program director here at WGHC 98.3 FM. We are your community radio station, and we are here to be your voice for change. Please consider making a donation today on our website at WGHCradio.org. That's WGHCradio.org. Happy holidays.
It's that time of year when the world falls in love. Every song you hear seems to say, Merry Christmas, may your New Year dreams come true. And the song of mine in 3/4 time wishes you and yours the same thing too.
Thank you for.
Good morning, everybody. It's Bob Kiser on WGHC 98.3 FM, and you are listening to Perfect Detours. I hope that everyone had a fantastic new year. Happy 2021. Woohoo! Let's get this going. So, as I said, you're listening to Perfect Detours. If you've not listened before, welcome. I'm glad you're here. If you've listened before, welcome back. I'm excited for this new year of abundance, of figuring out these detours that we're on in life and making them work for us. So, what do we do here? So each week we explore how to turn those perfectly imperfect moments in our lives into living a life beyond our wildest dream. And the question becomes, how would your life be different if you saw everything as pointing you towards becoming the perfect you? That maybe the universe is actually conspiring for you. That's what this show's about, and that's what we talk about. So this past week, I have to say, has been wonderful for me. I have just unplugged, my partner and I, Brian. We kind of just laid around the house, watched movies. I've been watching a really cool series. And I get to everything late, so I know it's been on the air for a long time, but The Good Place was Kristen Bell. I am loving this show. It is so cool. It's so up my alley, about these 4 humans who die, and then they go to the good place, and their journeys they're in. And this whole idea of what morality is and kind of what's good and what's bad. And I love that because as a coach, I'm always looking at things from this idea that what is the intention behind our actions? And these intentions, how do they carry us through to those next goals or those next experiences? For me, life is about experiences. Like, I know I'm only here a short time, so I want to make sure that I am experiencing exactly the things that I want to experience. It's kind of like going to a theme park. When I go to a theme park, I see all the roller coasters I want to get to, and I could spend all my time on that one roller coaster, which is really cool, or maybe I want to spread out and go see 4 or 5 different roller coasters. And some of them look really scary, and some of them aren't as scary, but it's the idea of kind of choosing. And in life, I think that many times people just kind of float through life, which there is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with floating through life, and you will have tons of experiences that way. And I invite you to maybe get a little bit more intentional about what is it that you want to experience. And this whole idea of experiences, and even more than experiences, successes in our lives, and what are successes. I think that society tells us what a quote-unquote success is. Our families can. And we've explored on this show so many times that someone else's success may not be our success. So it's figuring out what is it that we want to experience. Again, the roller coasters I want to go on may not be the roller coasters that you want to go on. And that's totally fine. But if I'm going to wait in line for an hour to go on this really cool roller coaster, I better make sure it's a roller coaster I want to experience. So, and at the end of it, doesn't mean that it has to be the best roller coaster ever. If I can acknowledge that, hey, it was just a really cool experience. Now let's go on to the next one. I think that as in life, that life can be more enjoyable, and the theme park can be more enjoyable. I don't even know where I came with that theme park thing. I just have theme parks on the mind. I just want to get out and do something. I was telling Brian that I'm tired of being in this house. So tired of being in COVID. And you know what? It's all good. We'll get through it. And we are getting through it. Skip is busy doing technical stuff. And usually this is when I would talk to him. And he just looked at me and went, no. So I'm going to keep talking just with you. Are you?
I was just checking on Facebook to make sure that the audio was working on Facebook.
And is it?
Yeah.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Skip, how are you?
See
Happy
me
New
check
Year.
that throughout the show.
Oh, yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Woohoo.
Happy freaking New Year.
Yes. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Get your freak on, I guess.
Yeah.
So, Skip, how are you?
I'm good. I got Serenity.
I'm good. Okay. I'm real good.
Yeah. Serenity is good.
Yeah. Are you an intention setter for New Year's? Okay. So what's your intention for the new year?
My intention for New Year is, well, I haven't said it yet.
Okay.
Well, no, I'm to make sure music is my number one focus again.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Above everything else, if I am not working on my voice and I am not working on performing, then everything else, even this, comes after that. That has to be first.
So that is the roller coaster that's going to be your priority. I love it. And you're going to love our guest today, Elisa Carlson. She is this amazing musician who her priority is her music and performing. So I can't wait to have this conversation and maybe have you jump in with some thoughts too, Skip. So,
well, you're talking about the roller coaster and trying different things.
Mm-hmm.
And something that really stirred from our conversation last week, you and I talked about afterward, and it's been all week, that, she was talking about, your guest last week was talking about, hey, you gotta explore things. You gotta, take the first step on the staircase. And if you don't like it, at least you tried it. You don't have to go all the way up the staircase.
Right.
And I was thinking about certain situations in my life that are going on, and it was like, I've been in the flow, right? I've been in the flow. So that analogy, I'm on an escalator. I'm on an escalator going up, but then the escalator stopped, and then it started going down, but I kept climbing up. So I'm just stuck in the one place and trying to get up there, and suddenly that flow has changed, and I'm fighting it. So why don't I just go with the flow? Go back to the ground floor, go back to the base, go back to the basics, walk over, get in the elevator, and go up, because there are some things I can rise above.
Okay. There we go. That's a good analogy.
Well, that really just put a lot of things into perspective for me this week. Just thinking of that analogy, it's like, yeah, there are certain things that where I get stuck. You know, I've laid a lot of groundwork, and if I just go with the flow and know when to say no.
Yes. When
I'm going to start rhyming now.
you
So.
know when to hold them, and know when to fold.
Yes.
Well, I think it says there's many ways to get up to that next floor. So there's the escalator, there is the elevator, there might be some stairs.
Hey, there might be a rope.
Yep.
I'm not going to climb a rope though.
That'd be fun.
Oh my God.
Rope climbing? Oh, there's that place.
Dude, I have gained
uptown.
25 pounds in the last 7 months. There's
Just
no
more of
way
you to
I can-
love. Just more of
Yeah,
you to
but
love.
I can't carry all that up a rope. That would be pretty hard.
Well, now if you say can't, you can't.
You know, I had a 4th grade teacher who told me can't do anything, and she'd say that all the time. It's ingrained in my head. Can't do anything.
I kind of agree with that. So, so today on the show, we're going to talk about this idea of overnight successes. We were just talking about, with this journey in life, I think many of us look at the destination as the goal. And I know that when people come to me for coaching, one of the questions is, where do you want to get to? And so how can we get there the quickest, and all that kind of good stuff, or at least that's what most people want. And I think with today's, American Idol and, America's Got Talent or whatever their shows are, there's this idea that people get on stage for 3 minutes, they sing, and then they become stars, and then you go on with your life.
Sorry.
Okay there?
Sorry.
Yeah. I didn't realize I had the microphone on too. Yeah, you had your microphone on. That was a perfect detour. Perfect detour. We have many on this show. I love it. Love this. You never know what's gonna happen.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Skip. You never know what's going to happen here. But is the idea of being an overnight success, is that really an idea that we want to run with and actually judge our performances, judge our experiences with? And how does that affect kind of us moving forward? I think there's been times in my life when I would do something thinking, hey, this is it. This is what's going to get me to the next step. And then it didn't for whatever reason. And I felt dejected and rejected. And people who are successful are really good at rejection. I've figured out those people who can take and rejection. I'm using in quotes. If you can see me, I'm doing air quotes because rejection or quote unquote failures, because in reality they may not be. I remember when I was acting and I would audition for a show and I'd sing my 3 minute selection or 16 bars or whatever it is, and I wouldn't get the show. And I'm like, oh, it's because I'm not talented. No, especially for some shows I was going for. Maybe it's because I didn't fit the costumes. They were long-running shows, and I didn't fit the costumes, which sounds so stupid, but believe me, it does happen. In fact, when I was casting and being a director, there were several times where people they didn't fit. They weren't the quite right height. And so we just never know. But I think this whole idea of overnight success, I think, can actually be detrimental to our progress and our experience through all these things. So our guest today, Elisa Carlson, who is a musician, performer, as I share every week, that I pre-brief with my guest, and that was the conversation that came to the forefront. And so I'm so excited to explore this with her and to see her thoughts on this. So we're going to take a quick break in a little bit. But before we go to break and bring Elisa on, I wanted to talk about, I was doing some research for today's show, and Colonel Sanders, do you know the Kentucky Fried Chicken guy? So he, at age 56, he became an overnight success when he founded Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? Well, that's hardly what happened at all. He tried his fried chicken recipe and rejected more than 1,000 times by people. And in order to do his dream of doing the perfect chicken, I guess cooking the perfect chicken, I guess I should say. He held a number of oddball jobs. He was a steam engine stoker to a gas station attendant, and then he started to be an entrepreneur. And he had started these companies, and they all failed. And he finally started a roadside restaurant, and that's where he started to present his chicken, this recipe, to the public. And then he got the idea for franchising, and then the rest is history. So it can take a long time for overnight successes. As Richard Branson says, there are no quick wins in business. It takes years to become an overnight success. And with that in mind, we're going to take a short break. Make sure we have Elisa all queued up and ready to go, and then we'll be back. So you're listening to Perfect Detours with me, Bob Kiser, on WGHC 98.3 FM. Change happens here.
This is Bob Kiser. You're listening to WGHC LP 98.3 FM Chicago. Please make a donation on the front page of our website, WGHCradio.org.
This is Skip Sams, Program Director here at WGHC 98.3 FM. We are your community radio station, and we are here to be your voice for change. Please consider making a donation today on our website at WGHCradio.org. That's WGHCradio.org. Happy holidays!
It's that time of year when the world falls in love. Every song here seems to say Merry Christmas, may your New Year dreams come true. And this song of mine in 3/4 time wishes you yours same thing too.
Welcome back to Perfect Detours with WGHC 98.3 FM with Bob Kiser. And now I get to introduce my guest for this week, Elisa Carlson. Elisa is a singer, multi-instrumentalist, and seriously, she plays a lot of instruments. Dancer, choreographer, and actor. During non-COVID times, she can be seen as a dueling and solo piano bar entertainer at Howl at the Moon and the Redhead Piano Bar. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning. How are you, Bob?
I'm good. It's so good to see you. And for listeners, I'm over Zoom. We see each other over Zoom, so it really is good to see you. And to be able to have this opportunity to talk to you for a little bit. So tell us a little bit about what you do. So what is a dueling and solo piano bar entertainer?
So, dueling pianos was something I did not even know existed until 4th of July 2002, I believe. I randomly walked into this place and went, what is this magic? With two people sitting at pianos facing one another, playing pop rock covers and bantering and supporting one another, and kind of a little bit, it's dueling with an E, but also dueling with an A. So there's a little bit of like, I can play better than you, and I can play, but no, we also support one another and harmonize with one another and sing duets together. And there's, little comedy bits and toasts and roasts and things, but it's just this, let's all gather around the piano and have some fun and nonsense. And it's magical. It's so much fun. And I did not know that my training as a classical pianist could morph into let's, play some Billy Joel and Britney Spears and Kesha and everything in between, So, yeah.
Wow. So when you were younger, you were a classical pianist. So what was the goal? What was your idea of what you wanted to be?
I didn't really have that. So when people say, what are you going to do with your life? What do you want to be? I'm like, I'm going to take opportunities as they come. I'm just going to, if something comes along and I think it's interesting, I'm going to study it. I'm going to read up on it. I'm going to take lessons in that. I'm going to find out more about that. And as things come my way, I'm going to take the things that interest me and discard the things that don't. And when I was real young, my grandmother lived with us, and she was a beautiful pianist. And I was like, this is really awesome. And I started picking things up when I was like 4 years old. And my mom was very supportive and put me in lessons, and I loved it. But I never had any aspirations to be a classical pianist. It was just, I enjoy doing it, and I'm good at it. So what does this mean? I don't know. I'm just going to keep doing it because I enjoy doing it. And then, you know, I got through high school and it was same thing. Like, well, you know, what are you going to do? Well, I'm supposed to go to college, and I guess I'll do that, and I'm good at music, so I'll go to school for music, and still not knowing what the end game was. It was just, this is something I enjoy doing, and this is something that I'm good at. So let's keep going down this road. Let's keep, you know, traveling in this direction. And yeah, and more and more I discovered new facets of the entertainment industry, and kind of brought them together, and it's turned into this thing that I kind of do a little bit of everything. We always say that, you know, we're jack of all trades, you know, master of none. So I do.
No, you're a master. You're really good. So. You've mastered it. You've mastered the multi whatever.
Yeah, I'm the master of doing a little bit of everything, if that's a thing.
So then tell me, what does success means to what does success mean to you?
For me, success is enjoying how I'm spending my time. You know, I'm very fortunate to, you know, earn my living doing things that I enjoy doing. So in my mind, that's a career as opposed to a job, I guess. I think that's a real base way of saying it. But for me, it's a career because it's something that I'm passionate about. I'm very fortunate to have been provided opportunities that allow me to do things that I'm good at, that I also enjoy doing. So for me, that's a success.
That's amazing. So the success is, it sounds like you have made, you've become a master at the journey. It sounds like that's really cool. I like that. I think a lot of times when I'm working with people, again, as I shared before, is the people are for the goals, the ultimate goals. And it sounds like when you're walking through these projects that you're looking at them as in, do I want to do them? You know, obviously, will they be financially beneficial? But then how can I keep doing what I'm doing, which is really cool. So I know that in your business, there's the idea of the overnight success. And I guess, and that's why I was asking what your definition of success is, because I think that many times we see on TV this whole idea of actors, you know, that big break, that, you know, whatever it is. And I think that actually, as I shared earlier in the show, that I don't think it serves us, this whole idea. The big break every once in a while will happen. And again, actually, I'm going to explore a little bit later. I'm not even sure if that's a good thing. But I love this idea of continued practice. You use the word mastery. You know, I think that, you know, there's so many times you need to do something in order to become a master at it. And there used to be, I think, a long time ago, like the trades, you know, people would, you know, apprentice and they would, you know, become masters and et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going off on a detour here, so I'm going to bring it back to, but with music, so, as we were talking a little bit, we were talking about the whole idea, and I looked up this quote for us, which is, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. And I find that interesting that you walked into this bar and you're like, wait a minute, I think I could do this. So what are all the things that prepped you for that? Because not everyone could do that. Just because you play piano does not mean you could do this job. Just because you're at a comedy does not mean you could do this job. So I love that this to me is a perfect example of what a detour is. When I talk about detours, is that those things that we didn't think would play any part in our life actually led us to exactly the place we should be. So take us through that a little bit.
That moment was very eye-opening, because I actually had this thought of, I can be me, and my personality and my voice and my skills are exactly what is required for this. Like, I don't have to pretend that I'm a different person or try to have a different kind of voice. Just what I am, and my personality and my energy, and whatever my voice is, and whatever these piano skills are, you bring that together and you put it out there on stage, and it works. And the audience is getting to know me, actually me. I'm not playing a character. I'm just being myself. And just that, I'm like, I want to do that. I want to be on that stage and be me, and have this community kind of rally around and have a good time. Yes. Where do I sign?
Get me up on stage. And you've been doing that for about 18 years. Is that correct?
Yes, 18 years. Yeah.
So now that you've been doing that and you've become a master, I would say, at doing that, how does that now play into where you're at in your life? Because I love the idea of being authentic. I think that you and I shared this, is that when I was acting, I never felt completely comfortable because I never felt like it was completely me. When I first started acting, I wanted to be anybody but me. But then later on, I didn't want to be characters. It didn't feel good to me. And I think I couldn't bring my authentic self to my acting because I had to go through my own personal journeys and lots of therapy, before I could do that. So it wasn't safe for me to bring my authentic self. So now that it sounds like you tapped into your authentic self, how has that changed how you create music and how you show up as a performer?
I think what it's really done for me is given me that confidence, that boost of, I know that I have value, that my worth as an entertainer, there is worth there. There is good there. So when I'm interested in a project outside of the piano bar scene, I know that no matter what, if it happens, great. If it doesn't, I don't leave that audition room going, oh, it's because I'm not good, or because I'm like, I know I'm good, and I can have that confidence in my ability because I go and perform just as myself and have a blast, and it's fun and it's rewarding. So it's allowed me to venture into these other areas where, I'm also a dancer and choreographer, and I was on the artistic board of a dance company for a number of years, and of course paid absolutely nothing because there's a lot of artists that pay absolutely nothing. But because of the security of the piano bar scene, I had the ability to go off and do these passion projects here and there that inspired me, gave me this like bit of variety, and I could have the confidence to do these other things. And I didn't have to feel like, well, it's not paying the bills, therefore it's not worthwhile. Or, only 50 people saw this project, so it doesn't matter. Like, no, it does. It matters because it's something that I wanted to do. It's something that I was passionate about. There's value there. There's worth there. And so it kind of, being a piano bar musician allowed me to more fully develop the different facets of my entertainment interests.
Yeah. And just because there's 50 people or whatever someone say is success versus failure, whatever, but every project you do, you leave that project different. And I think
yes,
and you've developed something new inside of you, whatever that is. So
100%, yes.
Really cool. And I love the idea of having more confidence. I've noticed that about you. I've known you for a number of years, and even in this interaction, how confident you are in your decisions, how you relate about your business. And it does. I'd not even thought about that, but it is a person who's authentic and who knows, what is right for them, what doesn't feel good for them too. So,
yeah,
awesome. So I'm trying to get into this song because I'm so excited to play your song. So we have an original song by Elisa, and we were talking about this a little bit. That this song you did a while ago, it kind of got shelved, and then you brought it back out. So tell us about that process.
Yeah, so I'm not that much of a singer-songwriter, and like often when I'm doing various cover projects, folks are like, oh, do you have originals? I'm like, not really. Well, why not? Like, well,
why not?
Because I'm not I'm not going to force songwriting if I'm not inspired in the moment.
Okay.
But I had a detour in my life a few years ago and went, okay, I'm now in a place where I want to challenge myself to do some different things, and joined a couple of bands and started doing some writing. And as bands often do, there was several changing of the guards. Like, I mean, it kind of morphed into a few different things, and it ended up just being me and one other songwriting partner. And we ended up producing a few songs. So I have, I think 6 songs that are, that exist. They're complete. And, this was back, I want to say 2016, 2017. And they have yet to be released. Like they're just there. And I'm super proud of them. They're great. But it was something that just sort of set aside. Like, and that could be a thing or not. I'm so glad I did it. And now here we are in 2020. COVID happened. The entertainment industry was completely turned on its head, and we're all trying to figure out what this means for us. I started bringing my show into the virtual world online, and found this community where you can be a cover artist, and if you have originals, so much better. It's not required. And I've suddenly found this community where, like, oh, I can do one original song, and they're into it. So now here I am years later performing an original song that I never knew if it was going to be anything, and it's turned out to be kind of a cornerstone of my show. Like, every single show I do, my community is like, you got to do your original. You got to do your original. So here I am with this one original that I'm doing pretty much every time I set foot on my stage.
I love it. Yeah, and after I heard the song, I'm like, of course you have to do it. So, okay, without further ado, we're going to play Let's Go by Elisa Carlson.
Just one of those days. We've all had one of those days. Today may be one of those days. For someone, every day is one of those days. Crashed my car, failed a test. Dropped the ball, made a mess. Lost my job, did my best. Not enough, feeling less of myself, giving up. What to do then? Suddenly my phone's blowing up. Hey girl, what you doing tonight? To the club, let's do it upright. Those guys, what do they know? Got your girls, all you need. Let's go. Start at my place, pre-game prep. 80s fashion montage, first step. Decked out, grab a lift, short wait. Check the mirror, round of shots, feels great. Rides here, right on track. Time to bring my sexy back. Take a selfie, post online. Bestie comments, looking fine. Hey, what's up? I reply, single now, not gonna lie. OMG, I do not know what I should say. Wait a minute. Hey, girl, what you doing tonight? To the club, let's do it upright. Those guys are what do they know? Got your girls, all you need. Let's go. Skip the line, how do we do it? Open back, short skirt, nothing to it. Round of shots, something pink, bartender knew it. Sound the gong, dance 30, screw it. Working out our problem, singing la la la. Twerking out our problem, singing la la la. We don't know the words, so we sing la la la. They don't really matter, so we la 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 la. And we all sing, hey girl, what you doing tonight? To the club, let's do it upright. Those guys, what do they know? Got your girls, all you need. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. So, wait, so I have so many questions. So first of all, I feel like this should be a musical. Just my 2 cents.
That's literally what I hear. Like, in the age of jukebox musicals, all my feedback is, why is this not in a pop rock musical?
Right.
I'm like, because I haven't written one.
Right. And musical songs are usually ones of, movement and, yeah. Anyway.
Right. Yeah. Like, the next thing I need to do is choreograph to this song. Yeah.
Yes. And write your own musical. Good. Okay.
Done. All right. Let me make a list. Things to do.
Exactly. Take us through the process of how you write music. Like, how do you do that?
Having done it only a handful of times, a small handful of times, That one in particular literally just started with piano ditty. Like I just started noodling around, and which is where the intro came, and the meat of this song sort of came as a working at a dueling piano bar. So there's a nightclub right across the street, and every night we'd see all these folks like just long line waiting for folks waiting to get into this club. And if I didn't work in a bar, I would not go to these kinds of bars. In that, I don't like waiting in line and paying covers. I get the hype, I get the experience, but I'm like, I just see these long lines and I'm like, so much. It's so much. And so I thought, what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about that experience of going out to the bar with your friends. Yeah. What does this mean? So I was like, all right, we're gonna do a song with sort of standard chord progression. Like, there's all kinds of bits about. If I do 1 6 4 5, I can sing 50 songs. We all within 5 minutes because they're all the same. So I was like, well, let me do something that's just kind of a nod to that. It's a fun jam with standard chord progression about a fun thing that everyone does. And it just kind of went from there, from like, girls getting cute and getting to pass the line and they don't have to pay cover, and bartenders going, what do you want to drink? And, inevitably we all say, I don't know, something pink, something fun, something, a flirtini. And they're like, oh, okay.
Okay.
And, and half the time bartenders like, can you please just get a shot of whiskey and a beer? Like, I'm so busy. I don't want to make that for you.
Right.
Yeah, so it was just kind of a nod to all of that. Like, I've been on both sides of that, and I get it from both sides.
Love it. I think so. I'm a writer, and I think that there's it's interesting being inspired when I'm ready to write. It happens really quickly. If I don't have an idea or I just don't want to write, I can't do anything. But it sounds like this kind of, you just had like, and it just kind of started progressing, and all of a sudden it sounds like it just came. Is that?
That's exactly right. Is I've never been inspired to be a songwriter until this one period of my life. I went, oh no, I have things to say, and it just came. Yeah.
Things to say. I love that. And what I love about your story, Lisa, is that I think sometimes people get in their idea, the thought, the story of who they are. And if things don't match who they are, they don't do them, or they're doing things because that's what I should do because I'm a songwriter. I should be writing songs, and actually,
right.
There's other things they want to explore. So that's really cool. I know, Skip, you write songs too, correct?
I do.
And what's your process? I'm fascinated. What's your process? I compose
film scores.
I don't think I knew that part.
Asking what a process is for a songwriter is like one of the worst questions to ask.
Perfect. I got the worst question award.
It is because it's never the same. It's it's never the same. I mean, there is the technical, like if you're doing a film score, you look at the things and this has to be this emotion and it starts here and it stops there, and so. And the same with the song. I mean, you could start charting it out. This is the verse, this is the pre-chorus, this is the chorus. And so what's there. And that's like when I do a commercial production, that's kind of how it is. And it starts out the very technical of like, this is what it has to be. And then the other stuff just kind of flows into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are the times where it's like, oh my God, I got to pull out my phone so I can get on my voice recorder and
right.
Oh my God, if anybody ever heard the voice recordings on my voice recorder, they would definitely never hire me because I always try to sing things way too high when it's in my head. I think I'm like some kind of like, what's his name? Sam. I don't know.
Sam Smith.
Sam.
Yeah.
Sam.
Sam Smith. Sam Cooke.
Sam.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Wow. That's so cool.
I'm going to change the subject just a second because I'm listening to this interview and well, yes.
It's good you're listening.
I'm listening. I'm not just doing the technical stuff this week. I am actually listening and I am watching, and I have to say that your light is, I can hear it in the audio, but for those watching on Facebook can just see the authenticity, and she lit up. I loved it when it was like
I'm a piano. I am a piano singer at bars. That's what I do. That's who I am. That's what I love. That's where I shine. And if I go to an audition, if it doesn't work out, I can come back, and it's okay because I know who I am. And Samreen, if I'm saying the name right, also saw that and on Facebook posted, I know I'm good, end quote, is a mantra I need to post on my wall as a constant reminder.
Me too, Samreen. Yeah. I noticed that too. She was like, well, that's who she is. That's who she is. You're not here right now, Lisa. We're going to talk about you. That's who she is.
Yeah.
Please, talk about me like I'm not here. It's fine.
But thank you. Keep shining your light.
Right?
Keep shining your light.
Yeah, and we're going to say where you can see her. We're going to give her give all of her details in a second where you can catch her. So, I guess I was thinking of, especially with this show being Detours and kind of those unexpected places, I think in the creative fields that's where you have to get comfortable with detours. You have to get comfortable with things. Maybe you have one idea of something and then it goes a different direction. Some of the most successful productions, literature, dances were those quote unquote mistakes. So yeah.
That's my whole life right now.
And it's really successful. Hello.
That's my whole life.
Look
right
what you're
now.
doing here, Skip. Look at this whole radio station. It's every day. Yeah, it's so funny because when I'm choreographing, I get on the treadmill and I'll choreograph with my headphones. So that's how I do it. So we all have different ways. I love to talk to people about how they get to wherever they're going to with their creativeness. So Elisa, so your husband is also a performer, correct? Luis?
Yes. Luis is an actor and comedian, improviser of 20 years. Yeah, so he also has gone through the process of what does it mean to be a performer in 2020 when everything is either non-existent or online.
And we did forget one role that he does. He's a dog wrangler too, because before we started this interview, Elisa's dogs were barking. So Elisa's like,
yes. We have 3 dogs and they want to be part of all things. So it's hard to be like, okay, now you can be part of the show and now you need to go away.
The whole household is performers. But you brought up the idea of COVID and kind of that your household is one that all of your performers. So talk to me a little bit about how COVID has played into this and what have been some of your maybe discoveries and also challenges.
Yeah, it's been an adventure. I mean, it's been an insanity for everyone on the planet. Specifically for entertainers, we've had this journey of, what do I do? Do I just hunker down for a year and just wait it out? Do I try to adapt what I can do into a medium or a media that will have me right now? Do I change what it is that I am as a performer entirely? Because I mean, there are some areas of the arts that translated to online better than others. In that, if as a dancer and a choreographer, I'm like, well, yes, if I have the space and I want to do something solo, yes, I can do that. But if you're working with a cast, that really couldn't happen for a good long while. For me, I went, okay, it's possible to bring my show online. It means getting some technology, getting cameras, getting computer, getting a hardwired internet. And like, we all kind of banded together, like those of us doing piano players that wanted to bring our show online sort of all banded together. Well, what does this mean? Well, it means you're going to get a program called OBS or a program called Streamlabs OBS or a program called, okay, now great, now go get this cable and you're going to want a better camera and you're going to want to make sure your angle is touched. You want to have your hands shown as you're playing, and suddenly you're dealing with, if you're going to be on Facebook, how are you getting requests? Is this a monetized thing? Are folks going to be Venmoing you donations for songs? The interactive part of a piano bar where people are in the room with you, throwing money at you, writing down songs, it's all interactive, suddenly became, okay, so now I'm by myself in my room with my piano, my keyboard, my whatever, and there's a chat online and folks can talk to me that way. So you start having this it's a conversation, but there's only one voice happening. So they're chatting, you're talking, and you learn to deal with delay. And yes, paid requests can still come in, but it's through this third thing. So it then became, okay, I've got a laptop here, and I've got a webcam here, and I've got my iPad here in case I actually want to try a song that I don't know, and maybe I want to read that, and I've got my phone here in case anybody's going to send me a donation. And you just become this back and forth, and where am I looking and what's happening? And it's a completely different animal, even though at the base I am still taking folks' requests and singing songs for the community around me. So yeah, I started doing that about 2 weeks into COVID. I tried my first one, and I then over the next few months discovered that a lot of folks are bringing their shows onto Twitch, which is where I am now. Twitch is primarily for gamers. Didn't even know it existed. And musicians have now flocked to it. It's a really, really fantastic platform for musicians, for comedians, for improvisers, because the whole goal is to be in the room with an entertainer, with an artist, and kind of go on a journey with them. So Twitch is already set up for that, and a lot of us musicians are it's a brand new thing for us. But it's been there for a long time.
I don't know anything about it. That is amazing.
Yeah. So it's actually really great. So now I'm doing 3 Twitch shows a week, to the tune of somewhere between 8 and 10 hours a week. So
interesting name, but yes, okay.
Yeah. It's been around for years, and I've been on since end of July.
Okay, so tell us so it's twitch.tv, correct?
Twitch.tv,
yeah.
Okay. If you go to twitch.tv/Elisa Carlson Music, that's my page, that's my channel, and if you follow me, anytime I go live, you get a notification and you can come watch my show. It's totally free. There are ways that you can support artists that you like. You can throw donations. You can throw things called bits, which is just a fancy word for cyber money. But and I have a song list that you can request. It's basically a piano bar already packaged virtually for you. It's really fun. Luis has done the same thing. He is a performer with Comedy Sports Chicago, and they have brought their show onto Twitch. So yeah, their channel is CSEN Chicago, and they do exactly what they were doing live in person up until March. They've transferred the show to virtual, and you give your suggestions in the chat. It's amazing.
That's awesome. And I have 2 thoughts. First of all, Comedy Sports. So quick detour. I went to Comedy Sports one time, and I thought, it's going to be one of those, hokey, touristy things. It was so good. Such improvisation. So go. If anyone listening, go. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. It's short form improv, and it's super interactive. So the audience is a huge part of what makes the games happen. It's really, really fun. I've watched Luis do countless shows, and I'm always there in the chat. Awesome. It's delightful. He's literally, our entire house has been turned into one studio or another. My shows are here, his shows are upstairs, and I'm literally just in the next room on my computer giving suggestions in the chat while he's playing. It's really fun.
The other thought I had was that listening to your story of kind of how you've gotten to where you're at, that 2 things I think played into your success is this, you've built a sustainable career, and you were talking about that career, and all those pieces I think made you adaptable to what you're doing now. I could see that you have 1 or 2 choices. One, you could say, well, as you said, you could just hunker down and say, okay, I'll wait it out. Or, and this is who I know you to be, is this where you take a deep breath and go, okay, what's the next step? What's the next thing we're going to do? What's the next thing? So I think a lot of times when people see performers or see you, they see the end product. They don't see everything that went into it. There's this saying, don't let them see how the sausage is made. Well, sometimes I think I wish people could see how performers do what they do, and there would be more of a, oh, wow, they do a lot.
And I will say that actually has been an element of online shows, is there is a a look behind the curtain element to it. Folks that come to my virtual shows, they want to get to know me even more, because there's not the energy of 300 people in the bar and everybody's, taking shots and spilling drinks and things. It is just me and the chat. So they want to know my history, how I got to, why I picked the song that I did, and how I got where I am. So there really is they want to see how it's made.
Who would have thought in this medium that actually people are connecting maybe more than they could have, in live? Because I think one thing I've heard about this medium is that people are feeling the lack of connection. But it is true when I'm like this, it feels like I'm one-on-one. Well, I am one-on-one with you right now. But when you're on a virtual show, it does feel like, oh, they're there just for me. Huh.
There's something really interesting there, because it's an opportunity for, I would say, for introverted folks to shine. Because with that, without having to, go through the stresses of going out and going into a bar and being around hundreds of people, you can still have this rock piano bar experience from wherever you want to be in your home or, whatever. And you can still have that energetic chat and that interaction, but you don't have to be somebody that you're not to do it.
I cannot wait to see your show now. Okay. And we have to end this interview.
Yeah, totally. It's only an hour? I don't understand.
We're at 6 hours. Elisa, thank you so much for agreeing to do the show. I think I saw you on Facebook. I was like, hey, do you want to do a show? And you, in full Elisa fashion, was like, sure, why not? Let's do it.
Let's do it. I can't think of a reason not to.
Good. So if you are on Facebook, you can find her at Elisa Carlson Music. On Instagram, Elisa Carlson Music, and twitch.tv /Elisa Carlson Music. So there is a pattern here. It's Elisa Carlson Music. You'll find her.
Yep.
Also, her website is coming. I'm sure you're going to have music on there that people can maybe get.
Yes. It will be, one more source to connect all of these other mediums. And yes, it will also be Elisa Carlson Music.
Is there anything else that you want to share about projects that you're working on, or anything that people should be looking out for? I think you said a movie or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, if I could, and I wish I had more specific details, but under the heading of shelf projects that don't know where they're going to land, I filmed a movie back in 2018, literally 2 years ago from right now, about dueling pianos, about a dueling piano bar. It's called Duelers, and it's been in post-production for a while now. And due to the world being what it is now, I believe it's going to end up being a streaming project. But that should be coming out sometime in the spring. At the latest, I would say summer. But yeah, I'll be posting on all of the social media as I get details. But yeah, it's called Duelers, and it'll be out late this year.
And I'll post it on my sites too for everyone. So yeah, we'll make sure that everyone sees it. Elisa, thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
In 2021, and I will be getting on Twitch, whatever this Twitch is. I will be getting on it to see you. So
it's fun and nonsense. You're gonna love it.
Okay, best of luck. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
And we're gonna be back after a quick break. You're listening to Perfect Detours with Bob Kiser on WGHC 98.3 FM. Change happens here.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. That's right. They can help save lives by simply washing their hands. Just 20 seconds of thorough hand washing after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside can help fight against the dastardly spread of germs. Armed with only soap and water and hands, your superhero can protect you, your family, and everyone out there in America land. Amazing! Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Hello, we're back with Perfect Detours with me, Bob Kiser, and we just finished with our guest, Elisa Carlson. Just a fascinating person. I could talk to her forever, literally. I was like, oh yeah, we got to go. So thoughts for this week, something to think about, is this whole idea of, are we trying to be an overnight success, or are we trying to have longevity? And this idea of overnight successes, I'm a little bit worried when people go for that. As a coach, when people tell me they just want to do this they have this one event that's going to make them happy. First of all, it sets up this whole idea of if I don't get that one thing, where will my happiness be? But also, if you do get it, if you've not had the proper preparation for that moment, what about the sustainability? What about the consistency of that? So if you do get that big, huge break, well, then are you going to be able to sustain that? And I think that's what the years and years of practicing, the years and years of prepping for those moments, that those overnight successes, again, the preparation and consistency met with that luck equals a success. So, hi, Skip.
You know, it reminds me, there are no real overnight successes. I mean, because you think about all the years of training, right? And all the, people have paid their dues, and then they may get that break, but they've really worked for it. And I think of, oh my gosh, the first Superman current. I can't think of his name. Everybody thought he came out of nowhere, right? But he had done years and years of training. But it also reminds me of when I was in rehab. Mm-hmm. There would be people that would say, "Oh, I wish I had 10 years. Oh, I wish I had 10 years."
Yeah.
And I hear that now once in a while from a sponsee, and I'm like, "Man, I wish I had 14 years like you." And it's like, no, you don't, because if you suddenly had 14 years, it's still just a day.
Right.
And you get that 14 years by days at a time. So if you suddenly woke up and had 10 years, no, you don't. You just have another day.
Well, and would you have the tools and the know-how to keep for 14 years in one day, or 10 years or whatever you just said? I mean, those years added up, and I think that all of my trips and fails and, the whatever I went through led me to then, when I did have time, I knew how to keep that time.
So it's like if all of a sudden you're just off the street and you become a CEO of a major corporation, it's like you don't know what to do.
And talk about imposter syndrome. At least for my imposter syndrome, it would go up, exponentially if I had not worked for it. So
yeah, I have that enough with working.
Right,
for
with
it.
me too. With me too. I think all of us do. So imagine just getting it. Though sometimes I will admit that I will be thrown into situations, and it is a blessing not to know what I don't know. So, but that's another show. So, and I think what you're talking about, Prince. The late Prince said, sometimes it takes years for a person to become an overnight success. And I completely agree with that. So I leave you with, do you want to have a career, either a job or a long relationship, or do you want an event in your life? And I think that if it's the former, then I think that those years of preparation, of quote-unquote failures, though I don't look at them as failures, all of that is the foundation to how we can keep our success going. So, and it is time for us to end this program. So, each week I feel it is an honor to be at this microphone, to be a part of these conversations. And if you need to, but if you want to find more of me, you can always go to my website, which is bobkisercoaching.com. My name is spelled with an I. Kiser, so bobkisercoaching.com. You can find me on Facebook, Bob Kiser. My page is open, so you can find my personal page or my coaching page, either one. Send me a message if you want to chat with me. I would love to chat with people. Also, if you're on Instagram or Twitter, I'm at Bob Kiser Coach. So you've been listening to Perfect Detours on WGHC 98.3 FM. I do want to to remind you that we're always accepting donations to keep the conversation going here. This radio station is all about the voice, our voice that we bring to you, but also making sure your voice is heard. So if you want to make a donation, please go to WGHCradio.org. All donations are 100% tax deductible. So just go to our website. At the bottom of the homepage, there is a button there for... Oh, Skip changed it on me. So now it's at the top. So you just sign on to...
the first thing you see when you sign on our website.
Perfect. So that money helps us keep the conversation going here. So until next week, I wish you the most success, abundant, filled week, and we'll talk to you next Saturday.
This is Skip Sams, Program Director here at WGHC 98.3 FM. We are your community radio station, and we are here to be your voice for change. Please consider making a donation today on our website at WGHCradio.org. That's WGHCradio.org. Happy holidays.
It's that time of year when the world falls in love. Every song you hear seems to say Merry Christmas.